Lee Vinny Bonsier with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I know it's early, but what's the first impressions of working with new defensive coordinator Gus Bradley and the new additions that you guys have on defense?
I think, first off, the biggest thing is the man. Coach Bradley is a guy who's going to talk to you about your vision for your life. When you sit down and meet with him, he's going to talk to you about trust, respect. Because in this league, we know a lot of things dealing with business can kind of take out the aspect of loyalty, being a good person. So I think the biggest thing with Coach Brad I love, first of all, he's a good dude, you know what I mean? And I think that makes you want to play for a guy, even more.
Clelin, this is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated. There's a lot of new moving parts on this defense. I'm just curious. Obviously, you have to learn a new system, but how is it going as far as the camaraderie and guys just getting to know each other?
I think it's pretty good. A lot of the COVID restrictions ain't the same no more, so we kind of can be around each other more. I think the biggest thing is just over-communicating. Whether we learning something new or whether we trying to get to know each other, just over-communicating, not being afraid to get out and, ask the guy where he from or who is he, you know what I'm saying? We got a lot of new guys on the team, so it's been good.
Hey, Lee, it's Tashawn from The Athletic. I know it's early on, but what's been your focus this offseason? What do you want to improve on as an individual player?
I think my biggest thing has just been I want to really tone up. I got up to the weight that I wanted to get to. Now it's time to really slim it down. And I think the biggest thing for me, man, is just my IQ. My football IQ is something I've been honing in on a lot. You know what I mean? Not just my get off and my athleticism, but do I know slide protection? Do I know where the center's going? Do I know when I got the one-on-one? And I feel like that takes out a lot of thinking for especially young players, and especially someone like me who, when I come in on third down, I'm the guy that's kind of telling everybody, where we got to be, where we got to cover up spots, or where we got to watch out for, if we got a running quarterback. So I think my IQ been the biggest thing for sure.
Clelin, Levi Edwards with the Raiders.com. Of course, you had a lot of success in Clemson in the number 99, and then this season you were able to get it back. How excited are you to be back in that number?
Oh, man, very excited. That shit look way better. 96 or ugly. It looks way better, man. I'm happy to be back in my number that I love. Everybody, I've been getting a lot of compliments, so, just got to take it onto the field.
Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. I'm just curious, you're on opposite sides of the ball as Richie, but as far as the leadership, he's now the veteran on that offensive line. What he can bring, basically to both sides of the trenches, just in having his presence there.
I mean, I feel like not many people know this, but I vote for Richie Incognito to be captain every year I've been in the league. You know what I mean? My first 2 years, I voted him to be a captain both times because I feel like a lot of things can get misconstrued about, Richie. He is a little crazy, but at the same time, you would never know because he's such a disciplined and good dude, you know what I'm saying? Especially being in year 17, like a lot of guys would complain. Man, he come out to practice all the time, like don't take no days off unless coach make him take days off. So I think him being in that O-line group is only going to make guys like Colton better, Leatherwood, especially with, Trent and Gabe gone and Rodney gone, so he going to really, be that vocal leader this year for sure. And definitely that stone hands that everybody's like, okay, like they got a dog on there. So.
Hey, Cleve, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. Similar kind of question when you look at a draft classmate of yours, Johnathan Abram. What differences have you seen in the work that he's been putting in this offseason?
I think John's just really trying to focus in on making this year a really special year for us because I think the biggest thing is that, all of us we're tired of losing. And not even just that, it's just not the fact that we losing bad, it's like the fact that we right there to the playoffs. We just can't get over the hump. So I think just seeing his discipline and trying to, help bring the guys along on the back end and the way he's kind of trying to push the factor of we got to really learn this defense so we can just go out there and play as a DB group. I think that's been one of the things I've noticed a lot about him.
Hi, Clelin, Levi Damien from USA Today. Yeah, obviously you got a lot of new faces on the defensive line. Is there anybody who you've I guess, been drawn to, has been drawn to you, spoke to at length, and what's your thoughts on that group as a whole?
Oh, everybody, man. I mean, obviously it's still super early. I mean, OTAs is cool, but a lot of this we don't really show much. You know what I'm saying? I don't really evaluate guys until we put the pads on. But a guy who I like a lot is Darius Stills, undrafted rookie from West Virginia. Real good dude, but I got a lot of twitch. Played 3 technique. He got a lot of twitch. I like seeing that. You can just tell in the movements when we on drills and stuff like that. Like he got a little something to him, so I like his game a little bit.
Hey, Clelin, this is Vic. I know you mentioned Gus earlier. Anything you can notice off the bat in terms of changes from last year right away in terms of the system or the approach this year?
I think one of the biggest things is we're just going to take a lot of the thinking out. You know what I mean? I think this defense is built on putting players in position to make plays. This defense is built on turnovers. I feel like it's built on guys making a lot of plays. Now, with that comes a lot of responsibility, you know what I mean? Because it takes a lot of thinking out, but with that, you got to be able to really hold it down, especially up front. Like, a lot of times, we're going to be responsible for 6 lanes. We're just going to be rushing 4. So, 4 guys responsible for 6 lanes. So, it puts a lot of responsibility on guys, but I feel like going into my 3rd year, this team is really mature enough to take on that role.
Last 3, we're going to go Hondo, Adam, and Vinny.
I'm curious, for you to take the next step in your career, to go from being a good player to a dominant player, what's the next obstacle you have to overcome?
I think the biggest thing for me is, in the big scheme of things, is just not growing weary. I think the number one thing is I got tape of me dominating games. I got practice film of me killing in practice. And, for a lot of people, like, the results is going to come. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got stats, but they're not the dominant stats that everybody wants to see from myself because they know I can get them. So it's cool, but at the same time, I just got to stay patient and stay disciplined. You know what I'm saying? At times, it do get tough because you're just like, dang, man, I just want to have the numbers, man. I'm putting the work in every day. But I think it's me staying disciplined, staying true to myself, not trying to be outside of myself. Like, I know who I am as a player, and the number one thing is I know it's going to pay off. So just staying disciplined and being myself every single day, be the same person every single day, regardless of what anybody got to say, regardless of the circumstances. Just come in, work hard, and try to get this team to a Super Bowl.
Adam, you're trying to build, yourself. You're trying to improve as a player, as you talked about. The team is trying to get better. The defense is trying to improve. Everything that you guys are working on, how difficult has that been with as much criticism as the defense has taken from the outside and these last couple of years of not being good enough? How hard is it to tune that out, and how difficult is it to hear those things?
I mean, I don't look at it the same as, everybody want to say the cliche answer, tune it out. The guy who act like he don't hear the noise or whatever, because we hear it, you know what I'm saying? But I think the biggest thing is, Kobe mentioned this a long time, is like, when you hear something, it's what do you do with that information? Do you take it and you evaluate it? Like, what is these doubts? What is this outside noise? Like, it's all just, and when you really break it down, I mean, it's really just people who don't wake up and do what we do every single day, speaking on what we do every single day. So, at the same time, it's like, we understand people gonna have their opinions, but, you can't tell me how to drive a car you ain't never drove, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it.
So, I know the last couple of days you guys have gotten a chance to see the offense a little bit. Any first impressions of Alex Leatherwood, rookie from Alabama?
Humble kid. I like the idea that he just come in and just go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I think he, coming from Alabama and me coming from Clemson, I think one of the biggest things he learned is he already kind of knew how to conduct himself like a pro. You know what I mean? So he already practices in a manner to where he knows the tempo. He's not really overwhelmed with probably too much of the plays. I mean, I know he has some mistakes, but I think the biggest thing is that he kind of came in with like a pro mentality, not very young and naive. If he do something wrong, his head ain't down. He's kind of on to the next play already. So I think that early mindset is going to be good for him because, as we all know, like, one of the hardest things to come in and do is play right tackle, or especially left tackle in the league. So, I think he's got a good mindset so far, so early on.
You're all set, Clelin. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Good to go. Good to go.
Hey, Maxx, it's Deshaun from The Athletic. Earlier this offseason, you had a couple of procedures for injuries that you suffered last season. How are you feeling right now, and how close do you think you are to being back to 100%?
I'm very, very close. I'm able to do everything. The good thing is we have time, so I've just been rehabbing every day, getting right, getting stronger, and just getting ready for the season.
Maxx, Levi Edwards from Raiders.com. Just going from a different scheme with Gus Bradley, kind of what are your initial thoughts of having him as your defensive coordinator and really getting to work?
I think Gus is a great coach. He has a great energy about him. The guys really soak in what he says. Everybody wants to, succeed. We have a defense that has struggled as of recent, and we're trying to turn that around. We're trying to get in the playoffs. That's our number one goal. So, Coach Gus has been awesome, and my experience so far has been nothing but positive.
Maxx, Vinny with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. You kept those injuries kind of on the down low last year. Not a lot of people knew you were dealing with it, if anybody, really. But looking back, how much did it kind of play into what you were dealing with last year and on the field?
Nothing really. That's part of the game. You gotta, deal with certain things and injuries, and there's a lot of things that go on in a football season. It's a long season. People get hurt. People, deal with other things. So, it is what it is. I'm just glad I'm healthy and looking forward to next year.
Maxx, this is Hondo Carpenter with Sports Illustrated. There's so many new moving parts to this defense with guys that have brought in either through the draft or free agency. I'm just curious, how is just getting to know your teammates and building some cohesiveness working out?
It's been awesome. I really like this new rookie class. Everybody's super humble from what I've seen so far and ready to work. So, it's encouraging. You see everybody coming in for a similar reason. Obviously it's very early. We haven't even put pads on. We just started, running around on the field together. So, it's just about building the relationships right now, being in the building together, and continuing to grow and, be on the same page.
Hey, Maxx, Levi Damien from USA Today. How good must it feel to be actually in the facility for OTAs this year? No Zoom, no slapping trees, anything like that?
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, with football, the things you remember is the camaraderie, at the end of the day. That's the things you miss the most. So being in the building is enormous. Being around the guys, it's not even obviously the football part's very important, learning the new system, things of that nature. But I think having that relationship off the field is what helps us on Sunday. So last year, I feel like that was a big struggle for us. A lot of guys were new coming in and just trying to learn and fit in. But now, we really have some time to really meet each other, get to know each other, and be on the same page.
Maxx, Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. With the revamped offensive line, Richie's obviously going to be expected to lead the young guys, but from a team aspect overall, can you just talk about his sort of veteran leadership and what he brings on the overall for all you guys?
I'm sorry, who did you say? You said Richie?
Richie, yeah.
Oh yeah, Richie's my guy. He's a big positive influence around the building. The guy's been in it for 17 years playing offensive line. It's honestly unheard of. He's a leader. He loves football, and the guy looks, like he's 25 years old. It doesn't make any sense, but he's a great leader, in the locker room, a great guy to have around, and we're excited to have him back.
The last two, Vic and Paul.
Hey, Maxx, you're a Mid-American Conference guy. I'm wondering, what was your knowledge of Malcolm Kuntz before the draft, and I guess who better to show him the ropes than you? What were your impressions of him so far, and I'm sure looking forward to working with him?
Oh, yeah. I talked to Coach Gruden before the draft, and he was one of the guys that popped up, and we watched his film and things of that nature. And obviously him being a Matt guy, I was somewhat familiar with him, and I was happy we drafted him. He came in. He's a super quiet, humble kid, but I like his personality. He wants to come here and be the best player he can possibly be. That's all you can ask for as a rookie. You try to learn, try to get as healthy as you possibly can, and try to get up to speed. So he's been really good. I think he has a really bright future, and I'm excited to play with him.
Hey, Maxx, Gutierrez here from ESPN. He's not here right now, obviously, but when he gets here, what is Yannick Ngakoue going to add to that pass rush that you and Clelin already got going?
Yeah, it's super exciting. Me and Yannick, we talk often. We talk about a lot of things, and obviously we want him here, and he's going to be here very soon, and I can't wait to just go out there and play with him. He's a great player. I've been watching him from afar. We have a lot of similar influences in our lives, and it's kind of crazy how things work. So I'm really excited and looking forward to playing with him. He's a stud.
You're all set, Maxx. Thank you very much.
Yep, appreciate it, y'all.
Guys, raise your hands for Richie. Go ahead, Vinny.
Hey, Richie, Vinny with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. As a veteran player and with OTAs being voluntary, what's your motivation to be here at this point in the season when some other veterans across the league, may have skipped out on it a little bit? Why was it so important for you to be here?
I think it's a competitive advantage for us to be here working right now. We're a young team. We're learning a new defense. Offense, we're trying to sharpen our tools to be more productive, put up more points, put more pressure on teams. And it's just great. It's great for team building, great to be around the guys. Coach Gruden's taking good care of us as far as walkthroughs and keeping things down tempo. But it was important for us. The offseason kind of started off with the NFLPA and their agenda. And, we released a statement, but a couple days later we came together and we were like, listen, other teams are working. We are at a competitive disadvantage if we're not working. Let's get our asses back there and get to work.
Hey, Richie, this is Vic. You got a new group at O-line this year. Any first impressions today, or what are your thoughts so far on the growth needed for this unit?
It's great, man. Yeah, we definitely got younger on the offensive line. We got Big Dre up in there at center. We got Leatherwood over at right tackle. Denzel, he's not new, but he's new to the starting lineup. So just looking to build continuity, just looking to play our best ball all the time. I think we have a bunch of sharp guys. We got a bunch of hard-working guys. And now's the time to lay the foundation for training camp. Get in here, go through the movements, get the body greased up, check in on your conditioning. And then, unlike last year, once we hit training camp, we're ready to roll.
Richie, this is Hondo Carpenter with Sports Illustrated. A lot of people didn't get to see Andre during practices last year when Rodney would take a day and he'd get to do a lot of reps with David. But you were a big advocate of his. What is it about him that you think, the Raiders are going to be just fine making a playoff run with him at the center?
First and foremost, Andre's a great dude. He's a great guy. He's a hard worker. He's humble. He's hungry. He's got position flexibility. He played tackle in college, and then he got to the league. He played center. I go back to 2019 when Rod went down and Andre had to come in the game in Houston, and we didn't miss a beat. We were hammering him with the ball. We were running on him. We were making a comeback late, and Andre stepped in the next week against Detroit, and he played at a high level. He's a hard-working kid. He's passionate. He's from humble beginnings, being an undrafted guy. So I'm excited to see him go.
Richie, Levi Edwards from Raiders.com. What has been your first impression of having Alex Leatherwood in the facility, just kind of seeing him play and talking to him? Kind of what's your first impressions of him as a player and as a person?
Yeah, he's a big body. I mean, he comes from the Story program of Alabama, and he's done a ton of winning, a couple national championships under his belt. He's a quiet kid. I texted with him a little bit after he got drafted, and things have been so hectic here, just getting back and getting into some things. But he's quiet. He's a hard worker. He's picking up on what Coach Cable's laying down, and I expect him to have a big year.
Richie Willer Ramirez with the Associated Press. Read Vic's story, off-season story on your training. Part of that to do with your training that you did, I believe, in Arizona. It sounded like you went to an extreme conditioning regimen, different styles. Did that help? Because Maxx, you said you look like you're 25 years old. Was it a different type of off-season training and sort of just to help you prepare and overcome the injury and sort of just stay and feel young?
Yeah, it's honestly just staying and feeling young. You know, I've been training at Exos in Arizona since 2004. I did my combine training there. I've been back every year since. You know, one of the keys to my success is still being able to move around. You know, I've been sturdy. I played a lot of games in this league. It's really frustrating to be injured last year. You know, our guys are out there gutting it out, trying to get in the playoffs, and I'm just sitting around. That was tough. So yeah, off-season conditioning. It's really kind of like being a tennis ball, just bouncing off the walls, just kind of being elastic, be mobile. You know, try and just get the feet chopping as fast as possible. And I feel great. You know, I'm 37 going on 38. I feel great. The injury healed up real good. Rehab went well. Yeah, off-season training, it goes a long way. We do a ton of different stuff to get the body ready. And through the first 2 days, I feel great.
Abram, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Richard, you talked about some of the younger guys. This has been such a vector of the offensive line room since you got here. That kind of changed overnight this offseason. How much you kind of embraced that role of being, you know, the last man standing in terms of the old guard, maybe, and you know, taking on that leadership role?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to be able to have been here for a couple years and be established and be a leader for these young guys. It's great because, you know, we have some really good experience in the room. We have Colton, who's been a starter for 3 seasons now. We have me, who's played a lot of ball at a lot of different places. You know, Dre's obviously new. Denzel's got some starts under his belt. Leatherwood's new. But, you know, it's just it's my job to keep those guys going, keep them hungry, keep them humble, and, you know, when we get out on Sunday, just play as one and you know, go out there and really get after people. I think, you know, Coach Cable wants a very physical offensive line, and that's where I come in. You know, I set the tempo every day in practice. I bring it every day, and then you get out in the games, and I'm out there mixing it up, putting people on their head, and, you know, that energy's contagious.
Last one, Jenny.
Well, yeah, not sure what consideration you gave after getting hurt last year about coming back or not this year, but it almost feels like you didn't want to go out like that. You wanted to create your own narrative. How important was that for you to finish this whole thing on your terms and not on an injury's terms?
Yeah, the injury was frustrating, but I knew from the start I was coming back. You know, it was kind of up in the air a little bit about exactly what I was dealing with, but once I went and had surgery, and it wasn't as major as we thought, I knew I was going to just grind in rehab and come back stronger. And you know, I had surgery in November, and since November I've been locked in the gym, just running, conditioning, lifting, and yeah, it's one of those things where I didn't want to go out on an injury. I've had such a long career, and I wanted to come back, kick ass, and play another couple of years with the Raiders.
You're all set, Richie. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Levi. Johnathan, Abram, Levi Edwards from Raiders.com. Just out of all of your new teammates, rookies and free agent signings included, kind of who has impressed you the most just being on the field next to and really getting to know their game more?
Probably Casey Hayward. Getting a chance to know him, you know, and being around him. You know, he's been the guy who's been in this system for going on 6 years. So, you know, just seeing the amount of things that he saw, you know, the scars that he got, you know, in this system, he pretty much knows it all. You know, he goes out there, he talks every single play, in and out the play. It's just amazing to see, you know, and it's very helpful, you know, for guys like me and other guys, you know, trying to learn the system. You know, he's been a tremendous help, you know, and I'm very glad for him to be a part of this team.
Hey, John, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. I know you're only a couple days into it now, but how do you feel like the process has gone of you adjusting to your new role and Gus Bradley's new defense that he's bringing here?
I mean, things are going pretty good. You know, pretty much going down to pretty much what they call the box safety, the strong safety. It's been pretty, you know, it's interesting, you know, going from what we went to last year, playing a lot of split safety, playing high. So this is kind of, you know, I feel like it's going to be more suitable to, you know, my talents and my strengths. So I look forward to this year, you know, and just getting ready to come back, you know, for each day, you know, tomorrow, OTAs, finishing up strong with minicamp, and then coming back for training camp, you know, just trying to get everything down pat.
Johnathan, Vinny with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Ron Milas comes with a pretty good track record of development in that secondary and secondary in general. How have you enjoyed or feel so far about the process of working with Ron Miles?
Honestly, I'm just more than grateful to have him and the rest of the staff here. You know, Coach Milo has been around honestly, he's been in the NFL almost as long as I have been alive, truthfully. He's been in the league almost 21 years, and I'm only 24. So it goes to show you how much ball he's seen. You know, he's coached guys from Champ Bailey, Derwin James, Casey Hayward, Chris Harris. He has a track record like no other. So, you know, I'm just more than grateful to be able to come in every day and learn from him.
Hey, Johnathan, this is Vic. What does it mean to the Raiders and to you especially to have Carl Joseph back this year?
Oh, it means a lot. You know, one of the things I appreciate about Carl the most, you know, he's a pro through and through, day in and day out. You know, he's a guy who's going to be the first in and probably the last out. You know, and for me, you know, that's something that, you know, I really look up to, you know, especially, you know, I had that my first year, you know, me and him were roommates, you know, just seeing how he went about his business, you know, just being a pro, you know, and I feel like, you know, he can teach the younger guys and that's the role he's kind of taking on, you know, helping a lot of guys, you know, just being more of a resource than anything. And, you know, I feel like that's what we need with having a young secondary, you know, trying to get all these young guys out here with this new defense and everything. And, you know, he came from this system last year, you know, it's pretty similar with Cleveland, just a lot of just different terminology. So he's helping us as well.
Johnathan, this is Hondo Carpenter with Sports Illustrated. You have all of the God-given gifts that guys can't work on. What's the secret now for you to take the next step?
I think this year, just being more consistent, you know, just, you know, playing under control, you know, not really, you know, taking that many, you know, wild hits, getting myself knocked out of the game, hurting my own body. And then just coming every day, you know, coming to work, you know, just being consistent, like I said, being consistent, being disciplined, and just constantly just doing my job in and out, just grading with pluses. It was great, filling my grade sheet up with pluses every single day and every Sunday, and then I think my game would blossom.
Hey, Johnathan, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. You talked about Carl a little bit, but when you see the Raiders re-sign Carl and they draft Trevon Moehrig and Tyree Gillespie, how does that affect the secondary as a whole, but you in particular?
It doesn't. Only thing it does is just bring us together. You know, as soon as those guys all got drafted, as soon as Carl got signed back, you know, I reached out to everybody. And, you know, I told them it's time to go to work, you know. Each guy's going to push each other. You know, we all going to come out every single day and just to be our best, you know, day in and day out. Like I said, being a pro, that's from me, Carl, all the young guys. There is no more rookies. We're all Raiders. And so, you know, everybody has to come out and do their job, contribute their part. And so if everybody does that, it's only going to make the room entirely better.
Last two, Vic and Vinny.
Johnathan, what did you work on? What was your focus this offseason? What did you want to really work on and improve going into this next season?
Just trying to build my body back up. Last offseason was a struggle for me, you know, coming off of the shoulder injury. So this year I stayed around the facility a lot. I've been with our strength coach AJ, every single day. Him and Deuce, you know, those guys have been tremendous. You know, I've gotten back to what I'm at 100%, more than 100%, honestly. I'm the strongest I've ever been, and so for me, that's the biggest thing, you know, just preparing my body for these 17 weeks that we have to go through, and then, you know, just being around and just trying to get a head start on learning this system. So that's pretty much all I worked on this offseason.
This time last year, you didn't have access to the building.
Yes.
You didn't have OTAs. It was just a crazy situation last year. Now that that's back, now that that element is back, how important is it, and how much did you guys miss it last year?
Honestly, I think that was the biggest difference for us. You know, guys not being around, not having that camaraderie, not being able to build relationships. You know, a lot of people think it's just all X's and O's, and that's probably the last little bit of it. You know, it's about coming together, you know, being with your brothers every single day, and, you know, going out there and just putting it all on the line for one another. And, you know, if you don't have the chance to bond with guys, then you don't have that brotherhood, and guys don't really play for each other. So, and that's kind of what you saw all last year. So, you know, I commend the teams that played well and played together, you know. But having OTAs this year is going to help us a lot, and I think, you know, it'll be great things for the Raiders.
You're all set.
All right, thank you guys for having me.